this fight might not be for the interim title anymore. It might be for the undisputed. And I'm making this video because something interesting happened online. Burt MMA on Instagram pointed out that Nina Drama posted a collab with the UFC where the caption originally described Paddy versus Gaethje as being for the vacant lightweight title. And then it was changed to say interim like it says right now. And if Ilia Topuria is actually stepping away, then yeah, Paddy versus Gaethje has to be for undisputed. And that changes everything. Because even when this was interim, people were already frustrated. But now, if it becomes undisputed, it's kind of like, how did we not see that coming? You know? With all the noise around Ilya at the time that this fight got announced, how did we seriously think he'd be ready to defend against the winner by summer? Maybe you saw it coming, but not me. I didn't see it coming. So now reports are saying Topuria is stepping away for a while to deal with personal and legal issues around his family situation. Now, I'm not going to get deep into that drama because that's what this video is not really about, but the point is simple. If the champion isn't going to defend on schedule, the UFC is not going to just sit around and wait. They're going to crown a new champion because Dana White and the UFC are known for being strict about divisions getting held up. And if we're talking about the lightweight division, probably the most prestigious belt in all of MMA, there's no choice. The UFC they have to do something. They can't just let that sit inactive for a year plus if they can avoid it. And if the reports are true that this situation is serious and could take a long time to resolve, realistically, that's not getting wrapped up in 6 months. That's not how legal situations work. So, if the UFC believes Ilya isn't coming back in a normal timeline, then interim doesn't even make sense anymore. Interim belts are meant to bridge time. But the champ is out indefinitely? We don't know. It's looking like it. In that case, you don't need a bridge. You need a new champion. So, yeah, this could very easily shift into Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje for the vacant, undisputed lightweight title. Now, I know what some of you were thinking. What about Arman? And I'm going to say it straight. Even if Paddy versus Gaethje is for undisputed, it's going to feel like an interim belt to some people anyway. Because a lot of fans, like myself, see Arman Tsarukyan as the uncrowned champion in this picture. And I'm not saying Arman definitely beats Ilya. I'm just saying if Ilya is out, Arman becomes the obvious final boss of the division. So, but here's the thing. For Paddy, this is life-changing overnight because it's one thing to be hyped. It's one thing to be popular. It's another thing entirely to beat a guy like Justin Gaethje with undisputed gold on the line. At that point, you can't call him a joke. You can't call him a gimmick. That's legitimacy stamped in permanent ink. And for Gaethje, this fight is legacy. This is the entire story of Justin Gaethje, the guy who was right there, but every time he got a shot, he ran into a killer at the wrong time. Now, he gets another chance to finally cement it. I was the baddest lightweight in the world. That's what he can say. I mean, he's always been one of the baddest, but the baddest, he can finally say that if he gets gold. But now we get into the bigger conversation, though, because in terms of what's best for the UFC long term, Paddy being champion is a massive outcome, way bigger than Gaethje. And I don't mean in skill, I mean in impact. We've all complained that the UFC doesn't promote like the Conor era, like the Lesnar era anymore. Paddy is one of the few fighters who can drag the sport into that kind of mainstream energy again. Especially now, with the UFC entering this new premier sport era, bigger distribution, bigger reach, bigger spotlight. Paddy is champion. I mean, he's going to bring, that UK Ireland region hype. He's going to bring in casual fans through, his viral clips, his easy press coverage. And most importantly, he's going to make the division feel like an event every week. Imagine Paddy with the belt. That's what it's going to be like. If he's walking around the belt every week, you guaranteed you're going to get something. So the UFC doesn't just want a champion. They want a champion who makes the sport feel unavoidable. Now, to be fair to Justin Gaethje, if he wins the belt, I'd be happy for him. But here's the truth. Gaethje as champion is dangerous for the UFC because he could win and then retire. And if that happens, congratulations. We're right back to another vacant belt. Another rebuild to the lightweight title scenario. No thanks. No thank you. I'm fine. Even one defense feels unlikely. Because let's be real, if Gaethje wins undisputed gold, it's probably against Paddy, not against Arman, not against Ilya. So a defense against the quote real sharks of the division, that's a different conversation. And that's why if I'm choosing what's better for the UFC long term, I'm leaning toward the Paddy outcome. Because if Paddy wins, you cannot lose with what comes next. Paddy versus Arman sells, Paddy versus Ilya sells, Paddy versus anyone sells. Because he's going to bring the heat, the attention, the chaos. So if Topuria is truly going to be out for a while, make Paddy versus Gaethje for undisputed. And then the winner gets Arman next, or Ilya, if he gets everything sorted out and comes back. That's the cleanest way forward. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you want Gaethje to finally get his gold, or do you want the Paddy Pimblett timeline as undisputed champion? Do you want that? Drop your pick in the comments and tell me how you think they win too. And if you made it this far, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much, and bye.